ever find yourself struggling to save money? No matter how hard you try, you're not alone. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind why our brains resist saving and focus on spending instead. We're going to explore the battle between the rational plans and emotional impulses. And I'm going to share some incredible science-backed strategies to help you master your savings. Get ready to transform how you think about money and start achieving your goals with ease. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror. Where future success is reflected in our knowledge of fixing the one thing we can control, ourselves.
Welcome to the Financial Mirror, and thanks for joining me today as we continue to work to improve the one thing we can control, ourselves. Here at the Financial Mirror, it is not about the numbers and spreadsheets alone, but about transforming and educating you on money so that you can make smarter financial decisions. If this is the first time you are joining in, don't forget to hit subscribe on YouTube to be notified of all the new episodes as they release. If you're listening to this on Rumble, don't forget to follow the channel, like the video, and share this with all of your family and friends. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform of your choice, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. If you're on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave a 5-star review and a written comment, as both go a long way in getting this information out to more and more listeners. So last week we talked all about like saving yourself, freezing your credit, all of those good things, easy things you can do to quickly take action and take control of your personal finances and prevent those pesky little hackers from getting a hold of your data, which they probably already have, and actually being able to utilize it. So today we are doing something that is slightly more challenging. We are focusing on the brain. We are focusing on the way you think and the way you kind of create logic in your mind to make it easier to spend than it is to save. Okay? So today we're diving into a topic, and truly, it affects all of us. I'm not going to say that I am excluded. I want to talk about why it's so hard to save money and what we can do about it. So no matter, if you've been, just like me, I am absolutely not immune to this. But if you've ever felt like no matter how hard you try, saving just doesn't stick. Right? Like you've tried, well, I'm going to save my first, $100 of my paycheck, or maybe you're like, I'm just going to save everything that's left over in the month, or, when windfalls come in, such as like tax returns or things of that nature, I'm going to save every single bit of that. But what normally turns out is the money comes in, the paycheck arrives, the windfall comes, whatever the case is, you decide to spend it instead of save. And there's a reason for that. And I don't say this jokingly, but it's truly all in your head. So today we're going to explore why your brain might be holding you back and how you can start to work in tandem with your brain to change that. So stick around. At the very end, we're going to talk practical tips that can help you kickstart your savings, because if you know one thing, the brain is a powerful asset to you. And if you can control your thoughts and control your mind and control and understand, I think it's more not even control. If you can understand the way that your brain tricks you into thinking certain ways, you can start to leverage that in your own benefit. So I'm going to talk today about how we can go from this like super spend first mindset to really start to focus on saving. And I want to just be very clear up front. When I mean saving, I don't just mean putting money in a savings account. I just mean putting money away, investing in your future, whether that be investments in truly investments through a brokerage account, or through your employer retirement accounts, or through your individual retirement accounts, or whatever the case is. Or maybe it is a savings account. Maybe you're building that emergency fund. All of those things can be included. I'm just using the term broadly today, spend versus save, because those are kind of used interchange to show polar opposites. So Today, we're going to start with first understanding the brain's resistance to saving. So to start off, I want to talk about this super fascinating, and maybe it's not super fascinating to everyone, but it was super fascinating to me about this concept. And it was introduced by Merrill Beasley, I think is how you say their name, but they are at the Center for Advanced Hindsight. And kind of the concept that was introduced is you kind of have to imagine your brain. Your brain has two characters, this like rational, like side, they called it like a rider, like a rational rider. And then there's just like an emotional elephant, like this emotional side. So you have a rational side and you have an emotional side. And that's just the easiest way to think about it. There's two people, one's rational, one's very emotional. Okay. Now, the rational side knows they need to save money for their future. They know they need to save it. And if you can think inside of your own head, you have a rational side. There's times when you're like, man, like I just really need to save money. Maybe it came up when your car had a maintenance issue and you're like, man, I wish I had some money set aside for this. Man, put it on the credit card and go deeper into debt, or whatever that case was for you. There was probably a time when rationally you were like, man, I should really save money. But on the other side, that other character, that emotional side, they prefer that immediate pleasure of spending. And you can probably also relate, as I can, as in the same vein here, is that, man, I really want this gadget, this widget, this thing. I'm just going to go buy it, right? And impulsively, we just go and do that thing. So when they're not in sync, saving money becomes a real challenge. If one is consistently dominating, saving money will be a challenge, especially when it's the emotional side. So this metaphor really helps understand why even when there's the best intentions, it's not just about knowing what to do. It's really persuading your emotional side, that emotional elephant, to follow along, right? And so that's kind of how that piece works. I did put a link to the article in the description. So if you want to kind of give a more in-depth reading into that, I just kind of used it as kind of a preface just to talk about these two different sides. So if you want to read more about the little concept that was brought up by the Center for Advanced Hindsight, please feel free to go and look at that. But I kind of just use it as a preface, just to really illustrate you have this emotional and you have this rational side in your brain that needs to be in sync. So what factors truly make it difficult? Okay, so you're like, man, you told me about this rational. Yes, I've got a rational side. Yes, I got an emotional side. Yada, yada, yada. Like, what does that really mean? Well, let me tell you. There's factors that make saving difficult. So why exactly does your emotional side refuse to cooperate? Why does your emotional side consistently tell you, no, you should just spend that? We can think about this like angel and the devil on each shoulder, right? Why is it? Why will that emotional side of you just not cooperate, right? That gets hard. It's difficult. But why? Well, the first reason for this is ease. Our environment is designed to make spending effortless, right? And I truly mean that. Like, and it seems that it's become more effortless. And I'm talking like through the introduction of, and more secure, not more secure, regardless, I can literally just walk up to a machine, tap my card, this like little metal plastic thing, tap it, and transaction goes through, right? That's become easy. I can double click a button on the side of my phone, show on my face, and transaction goes through. You see, like, it's become effortless. So at this point, spending is super easy. One tap of your card, you made a purchase. One face little thing, and you make a purchase. Now you have like one click pay and you make a purchase. Now you have finance your purchase at checkout and don't spend a dime today. You see, like, it has become so easy to spend money. And saving requires effort and multiple steps. If you could save money that quick, and there are apps out there like acorn, whatever you say, we could tomato, potato this thing, but acorn, there's an app out there that can kind of automate savings, not affiliated with them at all. So use it at your own regard, go look at them and see if it's something you're interested in. But I do know people that have used it in the past, but there are like apps out there that round your purchases to the nearest dollar. Maybe your bank does that, but there are ways that you can start to save money, with little or no effort in comparison. But most of the time, if you're thinking like retirement accounts, I've got to go figure out where to log into my employer retirement account. I've got to go log into my IRA. Now I have to figure out what investments I'm going to invest in. It is not easy. It's not as easy as tapping a card, swiping a card, showing my face, clicking a button, putting something on subscribe and save with Amazon Prime. It's not that easy to save money as it is to spend money. So that's the first thing that makes that emotional side of you, that emotional elephant character, really just not want to tag along. It's too easy to do the other thing. The second thing is attraction. We are drawn to instant gratification. Credit cards and shopping apps offer rewards for immediate pleasure, right? People say, well, I use a credit card for travel rewards. Okay, cool. I mean, that's really cool. But what does it take to get travel rewards? Well, it takes you spending money. There's no travel rewards for saving money, right? There's nothing that gives people benefit to save money. Instead, they're stuck only spending. Everything is driven to only spend. That immediate pleasure and is consistently overshadowing that slower satisfaction from watching your savings grow. Do you know it takes days? Like the market is open for a few hours every day. At the end of that, nothing happens and it's boring, right? 5 days a week and it's boring. I think there's 253 trading days in a year. I'll have to double check myself. I'm pretty sure 253. I may be off a few, but out of 300 and now I'm completely off. What is there? 352 days in a year, 356 days, 356, right? I think it's 350. I'm all messed up in numbers. I'm pretty sure it's 356 days, 365, 365. Yeah, I'm dyslexic. 365. I think it's three. Yes, this is crazy. 365 days in a year, and I think there's 253 trading days. I'm gonna fix this on the video, right? So, but anyways. Yeah, 365, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Yeah, 365, 724. Yes, 365. I'm pretty sure it's 253 days in a trading year. But anyways, it takes a long time to watch that grow. Man, I'm completely thrown off now. It takes a long time to watch your money grow, but you can spend so easily. And we're attracted to that instant gratification. If I can get gratified by spending, by just tapping my card, or I can get gratified by sitting and watching an investment grow for, 365 days, what am I going to choose? Well, the rational side of me is like, yeah, man, like it'll be really worth it just to wait that 1 year. But that emotional side comes in and it's like, no. Just tap the card. Just tap it. It'll be worth it. You get this little gadget, remember? Right? So they're just constantly battling each other. So you have the ease of it. You have the attraction of it. And the last thing is the social influence of it. We're constantly bombarded by social media and advertising, and it pushes us to spend. During that whole, like after COVID, rates were kind of all over the place. Even during COVID, for a lot of times, the rates were all over the place. High yield savings accounts were paying like 4 to 4.5 to 5%. You didn't see that advertised and marketed anywhere. But guess what you did see? Plenty of spending, plenty of new apps, widgets, gadgets to get, your money spent. There is influence everywhere. How often do you see someone like flaunting around their savings account on Instagram compared to their latest purchase, right? Like you don't see people like, yep, I'm getting 4.5% in that high yield. Let's go, right? Like nobody does that. Everyone instead says, look at this new car I just bought. Look at this new house I just bought. Look at these new shoes, this new wardrobe, this new dog, this new phone, this new watch, this new jewelry, this new like vacation, all these things to save money, but nobody's walking around like, oh, averaging 15% return on my investments last year. What, right? Nobody's doing that. So huge difference in those things make it super difficult to save, and your brain is going to go to the easy, to the attractive, to the influence, that social influence, and it's going to choose that emotional side more times than not. So you have to corral that emotional side. You have to really bring that emotional side too, because beyond like your personal habits, like what do? There are bigger forces at play here, right? Like our economy thrives on consumer spending. It represents a huge part of our overall like GDP. So when everyone around you is spending, saving really looks unpopular. It really looks like you're swimming upstream. If you're putting money into investments and saving and doing all those boring things, it really looks like you're the oddball. And in today's case, I would tell you, be the oddball, because I want you to think about how much better, how much more gratifying, how much longer lasting the gratification will be when it's a 1-year investment that just returned 15% versus you just added a new credit card transaction where you have a 15% interest rate, right? I don't know what your interest rate is, but I'm just guessing here. But also, that's kind of like the difference here is, yes, the economy is going to thrive off of you spending money. The economy booms when people spend money. We saw that after, during COVID, people were just blowing bagoozles of money. And it really, 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 tidied up, kind of put the economy in definitely a different place that it probably wasn't as prepared for. But what I want to tell you is that you have to make it popular or with the people around you that saving money is cool, right? Like, I don't know how else to say it, but every day everything's going to get thrown in your face. Hey, spend the money here. Go get this right here. Go and look at this really cool thing that this celebrity just bought. That's all dandy. Let them have it. Instead, don't feel left out because you don't have the latest gadget or the latest fashion. Instead, remember, like, the thing you're putting your money into is going to pay you in the long run. It will absolutely pay you in the long run. So what I wanted to shift to real quick, as we kind of, I told you I was going to give you some practical tips to kind of help drive that, bring along that emotional side, really tidy up that emotional side, to focus in on that rational, to do exactly what you need to do, and that's save. What's holding us back is important. So knowing what holds us back can help us determine how we can push forward. Okay. So there is some behavioral science that out there that offers some hope around this. One of the things that it talks about is visual progress indicators in saving apps can be motivating. So what does this mean? The biggest thing that I would tell you is look for applications that can help you see, maybe it's net worth tracking, or maybe it's a consolidation of all your investment accounts that you're watching grow. I'm not sure what that looks like for you. I've done a review of budgeting applications like Quick and Simplify, Rocket Money, Every Dollar, things like that. All of those type of applications do offer some type of visual into your net worth. NerdWallet is another one that offers some visual into your overall net worth. I think if I was going to make some recommendations of some to look at, I would look at Quick and Simplify is a great budgeting app. I talked about it in the budgeting application video that I did some reviews of. Rocket Money also is a really good budgeting application and does offer some net worth tracking, some of those visual progress indicators that I'm talking about. But NerdWallet and Credit Karma both also are pretty good at just tracking those overall like visual progress indicators that the behavioral science kind of says is really motivating for you to save money. So kind of seeing that visual representation of your savings grow, it can really help align that rational and emotional side. Because when you see the progress being made and it's not just happening, like people say, don't look at your investments every day. Okay, don't look at them every day, but don't not look at them at least once a week. Like, get some idea. Now, don't let it, when you see it go down, like, don't let that devastate your day. But I tell people to look at it, because as it's growing, like, that really helps drive that rational emotional side and bring those more in alignment, right? If all you're doing is seeing the news, but you're not seeing what your investments are doing, it can be really, really, really challenging to keep that rational emotional side in sync. So go find an app to really look at those visual progress indicators that can really help you. Another thing to do that can really help is that automate your savings. I say this, and I truly, truly mean it. You can have all the applications out there that round to the nearest dollar and all those things, but if I'm honest, the number one thing that I would tell you to do is, when you're doing your zero-based budget at the beginning of the month, designate how much at a minimum you can put into your savings. This is a good little strategy. I've worked with clients, and this is kind of how we start to introduce savings into a habit, to build a habit around it. Put the minimum amount in your budget to say, I can save this much. And it might be $50. It might be $20. It might be $10. But what is the minimum amount that you can save, that you can save, right? If things go crazy this month, what's the minimum amount that I can save? Now, once you elect that, that's great. Normally, when we do zero-based budgeting, let's say you had $200 left over, well, we would want that to go to savings and investing, right? If you struggle with choosing between the emotional side kind of wrecking you, and normally if you don't save anything, like that, even that 50 or 20 or 10, I tell people, put that remainder 200 into like a miscellaneous category. If at the end of the month you haven't spent it, right? Move it into savings then. But initially, commit to something small, something manageable, something that you can do, and save it right when you get paid. Put the remainder, anything else left over in your zero-based budget, put that into like a miscellaneous, and if it's still sitting there at the end of the month, move it into savings, and just do that over and over again. Eventually, you'll be like, oh, okay, I don't really need to spend this, and you'll start to build a better saving muscle, and it'll get a little bit easier. So set that up, automate your savings, that first little like 50 or 20 or 100 or whatever, automate that part. Don't try to put any thought around it. Make it as easy as tapping the cards, swiping the card, looking at your phone, whatever, clicking, one click checkout on Amazon. Like, make it that easy. Least resistance is automated savings. So go look at your bank, set that up, and get that going. Long term, you need to think about increasing your saving gradually. What I see a lot of people do, though, is they'll go from like 50 to 500 or something crazy, and then they'll go back to zero. You got to be consistent. You need something that'll gradually increase your savings. Whether you start at 50 now every month, next year go to like 75 or 60 every month, and just gradually increase. Make it manageable. Don't underestimate that you are not saving anything if you, how do I say this? Don't underestimate the power of saving a little bit. Some people will say, well, I can only save 50, so I'm just not going to save anything. No, the 50 is worth it. The 10 is worth it. Don't underestimate the power of saving that little bit. And remember, that does add up. So as we wrap this up, remember that saving is a skill that can be learned and improved. It's like a muscle. The more you work it out, the stronger it gets. It's not just about having this like all-inclusive, like strong willpower. It's about setting the right systems in place that work for you, understanding how your brain works. Your brain's going to try to convince you in this like weird way. That emotional side is going to try to step in. Mine's going to convince me in this other way. The key thing here to do is I encourage you to try out different strategies. Start small, stay consistent, and just adjust as you go. But figure out different saving strategies that can help you save more each month. The biggest thing is to start small, stay consistent, and adjust as you go. So I hope you found this episode useful. I just wanted people to know out there that it's not you. It's me. I'm just kidding. It's not you. It's it's just how your brain works, how we're operated and wired and configured to get that satisfaction out of spending money. And when it's so easy, when it's so attractive, when it's such an influence right in front of us all the time, it makes it very hard to say no. So it's not just you, it's everybody. Everyone fights that same struggle. The difference is some people learn what is that lie that their brain consistently tells them to make them spend money, and learn how to control that, learn how to get that rational and emotional side in sync. So important. So hopefully you found this video useful. Hopefully you found this episode useful. Go ahead and give a good thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from it. If you so would like, we definitely want to continue to grow a community of people that are wanting to really just improve their personal finances. Now, if you are in that boat and you're like, man, I really just want to improve my personal finances, and you want to see if you're on the right track to doing so, head over to thefinancialmirror.org and hit book now and schedule your free consultation today. And finally, if you do want to give an extra dose of support to the stream, head over to my merch page at thefinancialmirror.org/shop and pick you up some awesome financial mirror gear. I truly appreciate everyone tuning in today. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment on the video, and share this video. If you are listening on a podcast platform of your choice, don't forget to leave a 5-star review and a written comment, as both go a long way to getting this information out to more listeners. Like I said, I hope you got something out of this episode. Start today. Savings is one of those things that you just waiting a day, it's just not worth it. Just go ahead and start. Set up a strategy now that can help you save. And if it's not working the way you want it to, adjust. Remember, start small, stay consistent, and adjust as you go. So till next week, continue improving the one thing you can control, yourself. Peace.
Well, that wraps up today's Financial Mirror. Join us next week as we continue to work on ourselves, change our mentality, and to commit to achieving the success we always envisioned. Regardless of your platform, help us grow as a community. Please like, subscribe, and share with the people in your lives.